The problem wasn't the single dented cardboard box sliding carelessly down the wooden packing table. The problem was Alex's eyes. They were completely bloodshot, staring blankly ahead as he swayed slightly on his feet. He hadn't slept in 2 days. Beside him, tired workers were rushing. They were tossing packages with a heavy, careless rhythm just to keep up with the impossible pace. The farm's output had finally grown into a massive success. But right now, that success looked like it was going to break him. Welcome back to the daily life of Alex, Tuna, and little Henry. If you've ever built something from the ground up, you know the terrifying moment when your dream suddenly becomes too heavy to carry alone.
Tuna stands quietly at the wooden doorframe of the dusty shed. She isn't holding a spatula, and she isn't calling them in for dinner. She watches her husband quietly crumbling under the pressure, and she decides she has to step in. The afternoon light filters through the bamboo slats, highlighting the thick dust in the air. The shed is loud, tape ripping, boxes thudding, tired boots shuffling on the dirt floor. Alex rubs his face, trying to shake off the exhaustion. He completely misses a poorly sealed box slipping past his station. The workers are good people, but they are drained. When exhaustion takes over, standards are the first thing to disappear. Tuna steps over the threshold. Her hands, usually dusted with flour or damp from washing vegetables, are clean and empty. She doesn't yell over the noise. She doesn't grab a clipboard to act like a corporate manager. She walks straight to the end of the line. She reaches out, places her hand firmly on the ruined, dented box, and picks it up. Then she raises her other hand. She signals the main switch. The loud, grinding hum of the packing conveyor winds down to a dead-heavy halt. The sudden silence in the shed is deafening. 6 workers stop in their tracks, turning to look at her. Alex blinks, his exhausted mind taking a full 3 seconds to process what just happened. The line has stopped. The farm's heartbeat is paused. Tuna looks at the ruined box, then at her husband's pale, drawn face. The message is clear. We cannot build our family's future on broken foundations. There is a unique kind of tension when a wife steps into a space her husband usually controls. The workers shift uncomfortably. They expect anger. They expect to be yelled at for the crushed corners and the sloppy tape jobs. Instead, Tuna steps directly into the line, taking the place beside the youngest worker. She doesn't introduce rigid factory rules. She simply brings the deeply ingrained standards of a mother. When you run a healthy family kitchen, there is an exactness required. You don't guess if the pork is cooked. You know. You don't rush folding clothes or they won't fit in the small wooden drawer. Tuna picks up a fresh, flat box. Slowly, deliberately, she folds the bottom flaps. Like this, she says softly, her voice calm, but carrying an absolute authority. She guides the young workers' hands. She shows them how to square the corners with the exact same careful, rhythmic pressure she uses when smoothing out Henry's blanket at night. She pulls the packing tape tight. She seals it the way she seals her glass jars of winter preserves, perfectly airtight, leaving no room for ruin. She isn't just packing fruit. She is treating the farm's produce with the exact same respect she uses to keep her wooden house in order. Alex stands a few feet away, watching. The rigid tension in his shoulders finally begins to drop. He leans heavily against the thick wooden pillar, holding up the shed roof. He lets out a long, shaky exhale. For the first time in 48 hours, he allows himself to simply stop. He watches his wife silently shoulder the weight he thought he had to carry alone.
The workers naturally fall into Tuna's calm, steady rhythm. The rushing stops, the panic fades. But while Tuna had fixed the pace, there was a hidden danger sitting right on the table. A tiny, overlooked detail that was about to silently rot a whole month of Alex's hard work.
For the next 2 hours, the packing shed transforms. The panicked, chaotic rushing is replaced by a steady, methodical hum. Tuna doesn't just work. she observes. She moves through the line with the same quiet vigilance she uses when scanning the yard while Henry plays. But as any parent knows, the moment you fix one glaring problem, your eyes adjust to see the hidden ones. Tu Na steps back to wipe the sweat from her forehead. Her gaze sweeps across the side tables. Near an open window where the thick, humid afternoon air rolls in from the fields, she spots it. A large, clear plastic bag of moisture absorbers. These are the small packets meant to keep the produce dry during shipping. The bag has been ripped open and left unsealed. Tu Na's breath catches. She walks quickly to the staging area and pulls down a box that was sealed just 20 minutes ago. Using a pocket knife, she slices through the fresh tape. She reaches past the top layers of perfectly wrapped produce, her hands digging all the way to the bottom. She pulls out a moisture packet. She holds it up into the dusty light. The tiny silica beads inside have already begun to change color. They are swollen and heavy from soaking up the ambient humidity of the open shed. Alex steps forward, his face turning pale. If those boxes had been loaded onto the truck, the trapped moisture would have acted like a slow poison. Within a week, a whole month of his back-breaking labor would have silently rotted in transit. It wouldn't just be lost money, it would be the destruction of the family's hard-earned name. The young worker who left the bag open looks down, ashamed. But Tu Na doesn't scold him. She just holds out the ruined packet. "The farm is like a house," she says quietly, looking at the crew. "If we leave the roof leaking, it doesn't matter how beautiful the furniture is inside. Everything still ruins." It was a brilliant catch, a perfect save. But as the afternoon wears on, a new, much heavier problem begins to settle over Tu Na's shoulders. Fixing the line meant she had to touch every box. Saving the shipment meant she had to check every corner. By the time the sun begins to set, Tu Na is running on empty. Long, bruised purple shadows stretch across the dirt yard. She walks slowly back to the wooden house. The crickets are just starting their evening song, a sound that usually brings her peace. Today, it just sounds like noise. Every muscle in her back aches. Her hands, usually so swift and capable in her kitchen, feel stiff and swollen. As she approaches the porch, the bamboo gate creaks open. Little Henry runs out, clutching a small wooden truck Alex carved for him. "Mama!" he calls out. He practically launches himself toward her legs. Tu Na stops. She tries to kneel down to catch him, to scoop him up the way she does every single evening. But her knees simply refuse to bend. Her arms are too heavy. Instead of wrapping him in a warm hug, she just awkwardly pats his head, her smile forced and tight. Henry steps back, his innocent eyes widening in slight confusion. He looks at his wooden truck, then up at his mother, sensing the invisible wall of exhaustion between them. Tu Na sits heavily on the bamboo steps, leaning against the wooden railing. She looks down at her calloused, trembling hands. The warm glow of the kitchen light spills out from the open doorway. But right now it feels miles away. The next morning, the air in the packing shed feels different. The heavy panic from the days before is gone, replaced by a quiet, uncertain tension. The workers are waiting. They expect Tu Na to step right back into the line, to hover over their shoulders. Tu Na steps through the wooden door frame, but this time, she stops. She doesn't walk to the table. She folds her hands in front of her and simply nods for them to begin. It is terrifying to let go of control when your family's livelihood is on the line. But Tu Na remembers the heavy, empty feeling on the porch last night. She watches closely as the young worker picks up a fresh box. He hesitates, looks at her, and then carefully folds the corners, exactly the way she showed him. The tape is pulled tight. The moisture absorbers are properly sealed and placed at the bottom. They are carrying her standard. She doesn't have to break herself to protect the harvest. She just had to teach them how to care. As the rhythm of the shed settles into a steady, comforting hum, a shadow falls across the bamboo gate. It's Mrs. Phuong, Alex's mother. She carries a woven bamboo lunch basket. The faint scent of steamed rice and braised pork drifts through the dusty air. In traditional families, stepping out of the kitchen and taking command of the workers can sometimes invite quiet judgment. Tu Na stiffens slightly, wondering what her mother-in-law thinks of her. Mrs. Phuong doesn't interrupt. She doesn't offer unsolicited advice or ask why Alex isn't the one running the line. She stands quietly by the gate for a long moment, watching her daughter-in-law decisively and calmly lead the room. Then, Mrs. Phuong smiles. It is a small, deeply knowing smile. She places the warm lunch basket gently on a side table. She gives Tu Na a single, approving nod and turns to walk back to the house. That unspoken validation, that quiet respect from the older generation, instantly heals the hidden doubts. She isn't abandoning her role as a mother. She is expanding it to protect them all. By late afternoon, the shed is completely transformed. The chaotic mountains of bruised cardboard are gone, replaced by perfectly neat, square stacks of boxes. The farm's heartbeat is steady again. Tu Na walks over to the small wooden desk near the door. She picks up a pen and looks down at the daily dispatch note. Before today, this was just a piece of paper Alex rushed through. But as Tu Na carefully, deliberately signs her name at the bottom of the page, it becomes something else entirely. It is not just a quality control check. It is her signature, standing as a shield, protecting her family's future. She leaves the clipboard on the desk and steps out of the shed. The fading golden evening sun settles warmly over the dirt yard. As she walks toward the wooden house, the bamboo gate creaks open. Alex is standing on the porch, looking rested for the first time in days. Beside him, little Henry runs down the steps, holding his wooden truck. This time, when Henry reaches her, Tu Na doesn't hesitate. Her cup is no longer empty. She drops to her knees and scoops him up into a tight, warm hug, burying her face in his shoulder. Sometimes, the ultimate foundation for protecting a growing business isn't a corporate strategy. Sometimes it is the exactness, the daily routine, and the deep, resilient attention to detail found right inside a family kitchen